All right, folks, it is game time. Let me shut the door here real quick. All right, everyone, my name is Tom. I'm going to be doing internet training for you tonight on, I call it my beef store analogy, and this training is going to be really good if you don't understand internet terminology. You're also going to pick up a lot of wisdom in it as far as your marketing and what you're doing, maybe some mistakes that you're making. I'm going to try and cover a lot of information on, really the mistakes you don't want to make, like going out and buying these $99 million hit deals. They don't work, okay? You might get lucky a million years and one might work for you, but we're going to be talking tonight about really driving high quality traffic and the art of internet marketing. And what we're going to do is I'm going to use an analogy of and David, when you come in and out, would you mute your microphone, please, so I don't get background noise from you, please? But we're going to be using analogies of a beef store because I know that a lot of you understand this, and I'm going to draw the analogy to the mistakes that you would make in marketing beef out of a beef store on a street corner. That is the same mistakes that people make in online marketing. So I'm going to be comparing an offline marketing approach, which is like a retail store on a corner, to an online store, which is a landing page. Okay, and we'll kind of go through that terminology and show people what landing pages look like and why they really work and why some don't work. We'll be talking about that as well. So just a little background. I've created probably over 100 different campaigns for different products such as real estate, finance, security products. We've created campaigns for everything. And I want you to know something, that the model is the same on all of them, okay? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in greater detail and really how you develop your model and how you provide value to people and ultimately get them to want to buy from you. We call it attraction marketing, and Mike Dillard kind of coined that term a long time ago, but where you're attracting people to your business, okay? And so I'm gonna, hey David, can you hear me? Yeah, you keep coming in and out and it might be a distraction. So if you keep coming in and out, if you'll just listen on the YouTube channel, that'd be great, okay? You keep coming in and out and your video keeps appearing. I don't know if your internet's cutting off, but let's do this, folks. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the training and help you understand a little bit about the beef store analogy, and I'm going to use the whiteboard over here, and everything will be recorded so you can go back and watch this again. But if you're gonna, here's the first question that you're going to have to really answer. If you're going to put a beef store somewhere, what kind of street corner would you put it on? Would you put it on a street corner where there's a bunch of vegetarian stores? Would you put it on a street corner where there's a lot of traffic of non-meat eaters? Maybe there's maybe a lot of women. I mean, demographically, probably men eat more meat than women do. But if you had your choice of street corners, where would you want to put a beef store? Would you want to put a beef store near a hunting lodge, or would you want to put it near a place where there's lots of men, sports bars? You want to look at the demographics of your traffic, and you say, where is that traffic? Okay, and what's the quality of the traffic? So those would be the first two things that we'll talk about is, where is the traffic? Quality of traffic and quantity of traffic. Those are some very, very important things, and I see it showing up backwards on the camera, so you have to be able to read backwards, right? That's pretty funny. Anyway, that's odd. Is it showing backwards to you, Mike? It looks backwards to me.
No, it's perfect on our end.
Okay, so I have to be able to read backwards then. Okay, that's fine. All right. So anyway, when you look at that, where's the traffic? What's the quality of the traffic and what's the quantity of the traffic? And that's ultimately your first discussion before you go out and do anything. So if you're looking to create an advertising campaign, you want to say, where do I want to put my beef store? Okay, So let's draw our beef store real quick. If you've written down, you know, where's the traffic? If you're going to advertise for military traffic, how would you do that? Michael, any ideas?
I would go and join a group. You can join a group on LinkedIn. You can join a group on Facebook. I would join a group.
What's something else you could do that's a very simple thing? If you wanted to learn about advertising to military people, what tool should you use? What's the most powerful tool you have? It's got two O's in it.
Two O's in it.
It's got two O's in it. Starts with a G.
Google.
So first step I would do, if you're a single mom, and by the way, you really ought to be advertising to what your core demographic is. I talked to a guy today who was a veteran, and I said, you know, and I didn't know it. I couldn't remember. I can't remember if he ever told me he was, but he said, you know, I'm a veteran, and I said, well then, advertise to veterans. You know, find people that you have something in common with. Michael's a professional football player. You know, he should maybe find professional football players and find out where they hang out and what advertising mediums they read, and advertise to them in that medium, because he has commonality with them. He has something in common and he understands them. Okay. If you're a single mom, where do you advertise? So you go to Google, David, and then what you do is you type in how to advertise to single moms. What's really cool about Google is you type in an exact phrase and it brings you back stuff that has that exact phrase in it. So how to advertise to military. Best military advertising websites. Okay, type in what you're looking for, exactly what you're looking for, and you'd be amazed at the answers that you'll get back. As I always say, until you start asking the right questions or typing in the right phrases into Google, you're going to continue to get the wrong answers. Okay? So the first thing you want to do is you want to research where your traffic is before you plunk down your store. Before you start spending money, you need to find out where that traffic is. Okay? And see if you can find some cheap traffic, like free classifieds, free forums, like Michael said. Find groups where you can go test your ideas and test your advertising strategy. You know, that's another thing that you can do. Let's say that we've typed in, so if you type in how to advertise, we'll use how to advertise meat, or where to advertise meat products, okay? And all of a sudden Google comes back with these great publications where you can advertise your meat products. I got a men's magazine, okay? And the men's magazine has got let's say it's Maxim magazine, and that's a magazine that guys read, kind of. They look more at the pictures, but you might put some pictures of some sexy steaks in there or something like that, you know. And when you think of your advertising, folks, you put in you put your product in a demographic where your reader or your customer is most likely to see it and be happy that it's there. Okay? I did an interview for another company where I said, don't sell meat to vegetarians. That was the title of the talk. And the idea is, why are you advertising a product, a military product, in a job section of Craigslist when only like 3% of the people in there are actually military? Okay? You're not advertising to 97% of your market, so you're wasting 97% of your ad budget. What I would do, if you want to advertise to military, I'd go to militarytimes.com and I would put an ad in their job section, okay? Because those are military people reading it, all right? There's all kinds of military sites that you can advertise on, and they've got newspapers. They have a newspaper in every state, okay? They have websites, massive traffic, okay? So let's say for a minute we have found a men's magazine that we are very confident that the men's magazine, the traffic that they have, is high quality traffic that will buy meat. Okay, so that's the first step. Identify a high quality traffic source. Write that down. Okay? And by the way, the higher quality it is, the less amount of traffic it's going to have. I mean, it's going to be what we call niche traffic, which is very, very targeted traffic. You might be able to advertise to a website that has 200,000 visitors a day, okay? But if it's not quality traffic, you might get a 1% opt-in rate. By the way, opt-in means people that see your offering and they put their name and email address in. That's what opt-in means, okay? If on 200,000 you get 1% opt-in, and you got what 2,000 readers, decide to find out about your product. You could have a niche list of 20,000 and you get a 30% opt-in rate. Okay, so that's 6,000 people interested. Well, guess what? It's cheaper to advertise to 20,000 people than it is to advertise to 200,000 people. So I would rather go to a small publication that has a list of 20,000 people, but I know that that list is very targeted. It's a high quality list. Okay, so quality, quantity are very, very important, but quality is more important than quantity all day long. If somebody's got a niche list of people who buy Rolls Royces, and I sell Bentleys or I sell Mercedes top of the line cars, that list of 5,000 is very, very targeted, and it's a qualified buyer. So I want to advertise to that list. My Mercedes, I wouldn't advertise, for example, a '87 Ford Taurus to them. Okay, that would be a waste of money. And a lot of you do that. You go out and you advertise Ford Tauruses to. There's a disconnect there. We call it an information disconnect. When people see the ad, the traffic that sees the ad, they click on it and they come to something and go, why am I seeing this? Okay, so when we talk about, it's like, why would you advertise a meat store at a health food place? Usually health food people, they're not, why would you put a meat store right in a vegan mall, okay, that has all holistic, yoga studios, all this stuff? You put a meat store and they end up boycotting you and protesting outside your restaurant. Why would you do that? I see a lot of people doing that, okay? High quality traffic, folks, not from main sources like Craigslist, not from freeclassifieds.com, not from, what's the one, Adland. I know a lot of you advertise on Adland. I mean, it's a bunch of people trading traffic with each other, and you'll find people on Adland. It's not a bad site, but you're not going to get the quality of traffic you're looking for on a niche page for seniors, or a niche page for single moms, or on a niche page for single dads. Okay, so let's do this. We've identified our traffic source. Okay, we've gone out there and we've said, okay, let's find there's Bubba Lambert. Welcome, Bubba. So let's go out and let's say we found our traffic. Okay, we got some traffic going this way. Okay, going that way. And we found some traffic going this way. Okay, so this traffic is coming from the hunting lodge right here. So we know we got some meat eaters. Okay, and then this traffic is coming from, well, we'll just call it Maxim Magazine, because we know those are men, because usually men buy Maxim Magazine. Maybe there's a Hooters restaurant down this way where they might be coming from too. Basically, we got meat-eating men coming from this direction. We've got meat-eating men coming from this direction. Okay, so where do you want to put your landing page? Well, you want to put your landing page right here. This is where you put your meat store, right here. Okay, so this is our meat store. I'll just put MS. This meat store is synonymous with your landing page, okay, with your single mom's landing page, or your single dad's landing page, or your military landing page, or your social media landing page. Whatever you're doing, that's synonymous. The meat store is synonymous with that, okay? For those that joined us late, we're drawing an analogy between offline marketing and online marketing, okay? So you can understand the terminology and why we do what we do, okay? Now, if you have traffic, you've identified your traffic source, and you put this up. Let's pretend that your meat store that you put up, you built a cinder block building. You didn't put any signage on it. There are no windows. There's a door in the back right here. Let's put the door right back here in the back corner. So this is the way people would get into your store. So nobody can see your door, okay? Your landing, and what do I mean by that, okay? If they can't see your door, it's like, have you ever seen a landing page, an opt-in page that you come to, and you got to scroll to the bottom to find the opt-in form where you put your name and email address? I saw one the other day, a very big company. You scroll all the way, you have to scroll all the way to the bottom of the page to find the Get Started button, okay? So folks, you'll find that when you talk about internet marketing, the reason we want the information form in the upper right-hand corner is because that's where people look. And that's why we put the opt-in form, what they call above the fold. We never want a landing page that we build where the form you have to scroll down, because you have 17 seconds to get it. Okay, you have 17 seconds for them to opt in. And I'm just kind of telling you some really high-level stuff because you probably never heard it before, but they've tested it over and over and over. You have 17 seconds to get them to opt in or make a decision to opt in. Okay, so if they have to read your content and then scroll down, you're eliminating the amount of people that are going to come in your meat store or even look at it for that matter. Okay, so the first thing we have to do with our meat store is we have to make it look better. Okay, cinder block with no windows with a door in the back does not work. Okay, so if you've got a landing page that kind of resembles that, like they got to scroll down, they don't know what to do, you know, it's important that on the landing page that we spruce it up a little bit. So let's say that we cut a window right here, and we cut a window right here, a nice big window for us to hang our meat in. Okay, now our meat, in our case with this product, let me mute out. Horace, are you there?
Yeah.
Can you mute your microphone for me, please? And so when we create landing pages, like the real pretty image landing pages that are on the single men, single moms pages, and then we put the opt-in form in the middle above the fold, so where people don't have to look, they don't have to scroll down. So when we build these pages, and I'm just giving you a little psychology behind page building. I know a lot of you aren't going to do this, but I want you to understand why we do what we do. Okay? And so here's our meat store. We've now cut some meat in there, and let's say we put signage. We're going to put a sign right here, and we're going to put a sign right here. Okay? Now here is probably one of the most important things in internet marketing is what that sign says on it. If it says meat, some people are going to see it. If it says best quality meat, that's going to attract a certain customer. If it says best, let me mute you out for us.
Sorry, Don.
That's all right. I got you. Anyway, if we say, you know, so what I'm saying is the sign on the title on the sign, like your ad, for example, is one of the most important things. You know, best quality international meat. You know, whatever it says, guess what? You have to test that. Okay? You have to test the title. It shouldn't be more than 4 to 6 words. 6 words at the max is a lot. Okay? But if you can keep your title down to 4 words, you know, you're really, remember, you only got 17 seconds. So when you're doing marketing, whether you're writing ad copy or you're developing landing pages or you're writing a blog, whatever it is, the title is probably one of the most important things that's going to get people to engage into your content. Okay? Now remember, we said content creates conversations. And conversations create conversions. Okay, so content is right here. This is our content. Okay, if we don't have content that attracts people like high quality meat or cheapest meat in Atlanta or best quality meat or free meat on Thursday or what have you, then our signage, here's our signage right here, this is our title that attracts people. Why do we want to have a good title? Because we want people to pull in. Here's our parking lot right here. Okay, we want people to go like this, right? We want them to drive in. And we want them to see we want them to stop and look at our landing page. Okay, so this creates good signage, good title creates what? It creates a click-through. Okay, so one terminology I want you to write down is CTR. I'm going to put it over here. CTR is click-through rate. If you can't read that, it says click-through rate, okay? And so we're going to pretend that we have 1,000 people coming this way, and we're going to have 1,000 people coming this way. So we've got a total of 2,000 visitors that are coming by our store every day, okay? If we have a 5% click-through rate, all right, they wouldn't be that high. Usually it's like a 0.5% or a 1/10%. But let's pretend for a minute, and I'm going to use whole numbers just to make the math easier. We're looking for a click-through rate, and I'm going to give you these numbers. If you're doing any type of paid advertising, you're going to be looking for 0.1 or better. Okay. For those that are doing Facebook or any type of advertising, if 2,000 people are seeing your ad a day, or 2,000 what they call impressions, okay, this would be impressions, people seeing your sign, they're driving by, and then they look over and they go, meat, they see meat, that's an impression, okay? Then if they say turn left into the parking lot, okay, that becomes part of your click-through rate, okay? And click-through rate is very important. So when we do our math on this business, we go, how much traffic do we have? We have 2,000 impressions per day. And let's just say, for math's sake, we're just going to use a simple 1% equation. If 1%, if our click-through rate is 1%, okay, we're looking at 20 visitors a day pulling into our parking lot. 20 visitors per day. Per day. Okay, how do we improve our click-through rate? Wouldn't you say that improving our click-through rate's probably a better idea than trying to get maybe our click-through rate to 3%? Wouldn't that produce a better result for you? Because then you would be looking at 60 visits. If you've got 60 cars pulling into your parking lot per day, are you going to make more money than if you have 20? The answer is, of course, yes. Okay? So we may look at our cinder block building, and what might we do to our cinder block building? We may add yellow to it, or orange, or red, that creates more attention, right? Have you ever seen yellow, red, or orange used in landing pages? Okay? We see it all the time. Because it's a color that people are attracted to. It catches their attention. So color is very, very important. So I'm going to put over here, title is extremely important. Color is very important. Image is very important. Okay, now you're saying, Tom, I'm not going to build landing pages. I don't care. You're going to place ads. You're going to be doing banner ads. You're going to eventually, if you get into this business, you're going, and by the way, this is a little bit more advanced training that if this is your first time, you'll understand all this when I'm done with it. But all I want to do is kind of set the stage for how you make your numbers better. Because at the end of the day, if your numbers stink, you're going to be spending a lot of money and producing very little. Okay? And the goal is to spend less money and produce a lot, right? So you have to be very careful about how you use your ad dollars, how you invest your money in your business, okay? Just as you would with this meat store. If you went out and got this nice prime property right here with 2,000 cars driving by it per day, and you went out and put a cinder block building with no windows and no signage and no color on the building, you're wasting your money, right? Well, the same goes for the people that are out there. You're spending money on advertising and you're putting a cinder block building out there and nobody knows what it is. Okay? So what I want to emphasize in internet marketing is it's no different than offline marketing. Why would internet marketing be any different than this meat store analogy? Okay? It's not. Okay? So now we've got 20 visitors per day. Now what is our goal? Okay? Our goal is to get them in the store, right? Okay? So our goal is to get them to come out of their car, walk here into the store to see our offering. Now, how do we do that? Okay? Well, you all have seen on the landing page where it says free video explains. Well, free video gets them out of their car to come look in more detail at what you have. Okay? Where they've gotten past the title. Now they've gotten to the subtitle, and then they've gotten to the call to action. So we know that the title needs to touch the pane. So a title should always hit on the pane. The subtitle, so we have pane first. Okay? And then the second one is identify with them. I understand your pain. I'm a veteran too. I love meat too. You know, I understand, tired of poor quality meat. You know, I love meat too. Me too kind of scenario. 3, solution. 4, call to action. Bad quality meat. I understand, I love meat, and I can't find any anywhere. So I opened store, that's the solution. I opened a store to help all the guys that have bad quality meat. And free video shows you how to learn about the difference between bad quality meat and high quality meat. Of course, as a meat eater, you want to know that, right? Okay, so that's why we do the free video, to explain everything. Okay, so those are 4 very important things in any ad copy. I see you guys making posts online on Facebook, and they don't follow that scenario. And I don't understand why. Okay? Because it's proven that if you touch on the pain, like daycare, raising your children, does that hurt? Of course it hurts. That's pain. Okay? Mine was too, until I discovered free video explains. That's our format of our posts. That's the format of our ads. Okay? So run this. I'd like to see this week, I'd like to see you all coming up with titles. You know, maybe some titles for NFL. You know, think of some of the things. Got hit. You know, injury knocked you out of retirement. You know, or injury knocked you out of the NFL. That's painful. Okay. You know, did me too, or whatever. You know, I have a solution. I'm doing social commerce networking. Learn all about it. Click this video to find out more. Or ex-NFL players are joining this. Learn why. Okay. So when we think about that, guys, when you do your ad copy, you'll notice some of your Facebook posts get your friends all of a sudden click it, like it. You don't know why. You put other stuff out there that nobody even likes. They don't even click on it. Okay. So get their attention with this. Of course, good title, color. In this case, an image. When we're talking about a Facebook post, we're talking about an image. Okay? Make sure you use a good quality. You're wasting your energy doing a post on Facebook if you don't put an image on it. Okay? And I'm talking an image that gets people's attention. An image of an attractive brunette always works. If all else fails, get yourself an image of an attractive brunette woman, because that is the highest converting image on the internet. Okay? Don't ask me why, it just is. So title, color, I'm frozen here. Oh, I'm back. Okay, good. All right, so we've got our signage, right? We painted our store a really nice deep maroon red. Okay? So now we've got an attractive store. We've got an attractive ad. We've put up a good image, and it's catching people's attention. Okay? now we got them to come into our parking lot, and instead of getting a 1% CTR rate, we've now gotten a 3% CTR rate. So instead of 20 visitors a day, we're getting 60. So you're like, well, Tom, how does that apply to Facebook posts? Well, if you do 2,000 Facebook posts and 1% of your traffic that sees your Facebook clicks like or private messages you or whatever, you're going to make less than if you had 3% click-through rate. So if you make 1,000 posts over a year, the question is, do you want 1% of people to private message you, or would you like 3%? And the way you increase that number is by investing. I have a whole file of images that I pick from. You guys see my images all the time. That comes from one file. Even when I see images online, like there's a new one that points, the arrows point, it's a GIF, and I went and I grabbed it. I nabbed it, you know. It's in my file. I call it my swipe file of all my images. Anytime I see an image on Facebook that catches my eye, I right-click on it, and I save it in my folder. Every single one of you need to make a practice of that. When you're looking at Facebook and an image catches your eye, save it, okay? Don't leave it there, because you know something about it caught your eye, okay? You'll see images that have a little red box around them. Have you noticed that? Some people will put a red box around their image. They say that the image converts higher, you know, when you have a red box around your image. Okay, so here's our meat store. Instead of getting 20 visitors to come in, we've gotten 60 visitors to come in our parking lot. And then, of course, there's the call to action on the box that says free video. The CTA, or what we call call to action, the better it is, the more people who pull into your parking lot actually get out of their car and come into your store. They actually come pay attention to your landing page or your content, okay? So your CTA is very important. CTA stands for call to action. I see 80% of your posts on Facebook do not have a call to action. So what you're doing is you are having your people pull into your parking lot and pull right back out. Okay? You will increase the number of people who like your post and private message you by putting a call to action on there. Free video explains all. Private message me to learn more. You know, write out 10 or 15 call to actions and just use them all the time. Okay? So a call to action is something that encourages them to take a little bit more action. You know what's so funny? They say in marketing that you really have to do everything at an 8th grade level, okay? And you have to give them instruction on how to do this, okay? So if they don't know to do a call to action, if they don't know to click on the link, if it says click on link to find out more, it's proven, folks, that more people will click on your ad than if you don't have it on there. So why would you write an ad? Why would you invest time in a post or a classified ad that doesn't have a call to action? It doesn't make any sense. Okay? So I'm giving you the hard and fast rules, and I'm really doing it in a tough way because you guys are investing a lot of energy in this, and you want the maximum value out of it, don't you? Okay? And the answer is yes. So when we look at the call to action gets them to get out of their car and come in the store. Okay? And then, of course, the call to action also encourages them to buy stuff. We got all kinds of product in here. Okay? And we want them to buy product. Now, have you ever walked into a store and walked out of a store and haven't bought anything? We do it all the time. Well, guess what? People connect with your content online, they read it, and then they leave, and they don't do anything. They don't private message you. They don't click on your link. They don't do anything. That's the same as you walking into a store and walking out and not buying anything. Now, you all know that sometimes online when you walk into a landing page, okay, and you clicked on it to open up the landing page, and you try and leave, what happens? a pop-up comes up and says, are you sure you want to leave? Okay, well, let me explain what that is. We've got a person, we've got a young lady standing right here. Why would it be a young lady versus a young man? Because a young lady is going to attract the meat eater's attention more than a young man would, right? Okay, so the young lady's standing right here, and you walk in the store, you walk back out, and what's the lady do? She says, don't leave. I'll give you this if you don't leave. I'll give you 25% off right now if you buy something today and don't walk out of my store. You know what's crazy? We see all these retail stores, they never have anybody at the door that says, by the way, here's a 10% coupon, buy something today. It's only good today. How many more customers would these retail stores create rather than letting people leave their stores? Okay, well, that happens in internet marketing. Now, some of you all, this is a little bit more advanced, but you see that pop-up. It's called an exit pop. It's what we call it in the industry, or we call it a shadow box. So if you hear these terms, that's what they mean. A shadow box pops up and says, oh, before you go, like we're going to put a shadow box on the free phone offer once I can figure out how to get the programming done, but it'll pop up on your 5-page website. Right now, the 5-page website does not convert as well as the video landing page. But if we put a pop-up, an exit pop, oh, before you go, enter for our contest to win a free phone, we could actually double or triple the amount of people who give us their information. Okay? Now, when they give us our information, that's the equivalent of buying meat. Okay? That's the equivalent of doing a transaction. That's the first transaction. There's actually 2 transactions with us. The first transaction is that they give us their information. They opt in. So for those that don't know what opt-in means you put your name, your phone number, and your email, or just your email, into the opt-in form, into the data form on the website, saying, yes, I would like more information. Okay? So that's what opt-in. I have some people say, I'll be talking about a training, and then the trainer will go, what's opt-in mean? Okay? It's when you voluntarily give your information in permission-based marketing. You give them their information and say, yes, send me information or do business with me some way or another. You're creating a first level conversion. I'm going to say there's 2 levels of conversion. Okay, there's a first level conversion where there's an exchange of data. We'll call that the data conversion. Okay, the second level conversion would be the sale of a product. Okay, so they come in your store, and in this case, let's say you had a registration counter, and it says that, yeah, I know you don't want to buy anything today, but if you register and order our catalog, we'll send our catalog to you. Okay, so we've got a catalog table right here. That's where our catalog is. So we want them, before they leave, we want them to at least put their information into our catalog. Okay, that would be a first conversion. All right, the second conversion, which is the most important one, is that they actually say, I want to sign up for a phone, or I want to go ahead and enroll in Solavei. That's the conversion you're looking for, right? So out of 60 conversions, out of 60 people who come in the store, let's say that 10% of them do a first level conversion. So 10%, we got 60 visitors, times 10%, first level conversion. That gives us 6 leads. Okay? Let's pretend for a moment that this traffic right here cost us $30. Now, 2,000 impressions, that would be really high. Realistically, let's say $10 for 2,000 conversions, 2,000 impressions. So that traffic for 2,000 impressions cost us $10. Okay? So how much is our lead cost? Okay? I'm going to simplify this. I'm going to, well, no, we're good. Okay. Somebody do the math for me. We're looking at about $1.80 a lead. Okay, is that right? $1.80 a lead? Yeah. So we're going to say our leads cost us $1.80. $1.80 per lead. All right. If you sign up a customer, you know, who obviously goes out and signs up a lot more customers, that cost per lead, you know, when you look at the conversion and the multiplication of that, you could create a lot of wealth off that one lead. But let's be honest with each other. Let's say that 100 out of 100 people, out of 50 people, we find one person that goes out and builds a 20 or 30 trios, okay? So that means that $50, we're going to need to spend almost, what did we say, it was 50 people. Out of 50 people, we're going to have to almost spend $100 in advertising to find one hitter, okay? And people say, golly, I never really thought of that. But if you have to spend $100 to find one hitter, Mike, would you spend $100 to find one Tom McMurrain or one Chris Hussey or one?
I'd spend $1,000 to find Tom McMurrain or Chris Hussey or a Roxana Hanna. $1,000.
Or probably 10,000. So when we look at that, folks, you got to look at how much does your traffic cost. Let's write this down. How much does your traffic cost? Okay. How much is your cost per lead? These are all numbers that you have to track. If you don't track them, you will blow through your budget and you will go broke very quickly. I mean, if I were to call you, Michael, and say, I know you're doing paid advertising, and I'd say, you know, what's your cost per lead? And you go, man, you're not in our business, okay? You're not in internet marketing business. You're in throwing crap at the wall and seeing what sticks. Okay, that's the business that you're in. Okay, so we want to know at all times what our cost per lead is. Now, if Joe Pringle, who he says, I don't have ad budget, Tom, I only can do free posts. Okay, well, of course, free posts will obviously generate a lot of free leads, but you have to calculate in your time value of doing those free posts, don't you? There is an inherent cost in that. So if you spend 2 hours a day and you value your time at $50 an hour, you are spending $100 on your advertising, okay? So you have to factor that in. If doing 2 hours a day, you know, or an hour a day, or whatever you value your time as, if you do that every week and you generate 10 leads through the week and you've spent, you know, that's why a lot of doing free leads actually is kind of expensive. A lot of people don't realize, but when you factor in time, or maybe you can find an outsourcer in the Philippines who will work for, you know, $4 an hour, $3 an hour. Well, now you're talking, I mean, Dina generates probably 7 to 10 leads a day for me, okay? So do the numbers. So if Dina does 10 leads a day for me, so that's 300 leads a month that she creates for me, and I pay her $480 a month. You do the math. How much is my lead cost from Dina? Okay, so that's what you guys have to pay attention to in internet marketing. You know, Joe's going, your lead cost is about, you know, $1.25 or $1.30 a piece. Okay, and by the way, the leads that she generates are good quality leads. You know why? Because they're off my own Facebook page and people know who I am. It's not a cold market lead. A lot of the people that are on my Facebook page remember either friending me or we friended each other or whatever, so there's some association and they can learn a little bit about me before they actually opt in. They can say, well, what's Tom up to? They go to my page and they see all of your guys' great posts and your likes and comments and all of that, and they go, gee, Tom must be onto something, and that's a high quality lead. So the leads that she's getting me are phenomenal leads, okay, because they're really my warm market. All right, so cost per lead. Now, how could we reduce our cost per lead? Because at the end of the day, you say, well, we could do cheaper traffic. No, we still want high quality traffic. We want to focus actually in the beginning on the highest quality traffic that we can find. Okay? So cost per lead is extremely important. Okay? Now in some businesses, you're going to say, like in our business, it's a little bit different because, yeah, you're right, Michael, you could land one Roxana Hannah and be making $3,000 a month off of Roxana Hannah in the next 6 months. How do you factor in that revenue on that cost per lead and the what we would call I just lost the term that I use. So I'll back up. I'll remember it in a minute. So content. We've got our beef store and we've got our signage. What else could we do to improve the amount of, how could we get, instead of 60 people to come into our parking lot, how could we get 120? How could we increase our CTR from 3 to 6? Okay, this is what we focused on in internet marketing, folks. It's a numbers game, okay, and it's actually a lot of fun when you start understanding that, oh, okay, well, how can I get it go from 6 to 8? Maybe you could put a red ring around the box of the picture. You know, maybe you could test one ad against another. We call that an A/B variant test. You know, where we have, like Dina, she has 2 sets of text that she posts, and I pay attention to the number of responses each one gets. Right now, they're running neck and neck. It's pretty amazing. I don't usually see that often. Usually one always performs better than the other. Okay? So if you have somebody doing private message posts on your Facebook, then you got to monitor. You got to give them 2 sets of text and say, do 10 a day like this one and 10 a day like this one. Let them run for 10 days each. So you will have posted 100 posts of each one. Then do the math of how many leads each one produced. And then when you find one that's producing a better percentage than the other one, do that. Okay? Don't do the one that doesn't produce. Okay? Let's see. So okay, let's put guys out on the street. No, let's put girls out on the street corners with the little spinning signs, you know, like the gold signs, the guys that sit out there and they dance like that, and they got that sign, and it's like, we buy gold signs, and they got the Walkmans on, and they're out there dancing like crazy people, okay? Let's put somebody out here with signage, okay? Let's create more attention to our post. So maybe use an image that's a little bit more bizarre or something that grabs their attention but doesn't insult their intelligence, okay? And we increase it to 6%. So instead of 60 a day coming to look at our post, we now have 120. Now out of 120, 10% of them send you a private message. Now you got 12 leads. And instead of your lead cost being $1.80 per lead, now your lead cost is 90 cents per lead. If it takes 50 leads to get a hitter, now you're looking at $45 in advertising. Okay? So when we do our advertising, guys, you should be monitoring all these numbers. And then if you're not getting the numbers that you want to get, you need to ask why you're not getting them. Is it your title? Is it your image? That represents 70% of it right there, by the way, title and image. Okay? The body of your text and the call to action represents the other 30%. Okay? So now we look at our meat store analogy here, folks. we've realized that we had to put signage on it. We had to cut windows in it. We had to paint it. We had to put pretty girls out on the sidewalks to spin signs about saying we've got the best international meat in the world. And when they came in and tried to leave, we gave them a 10% coupon that said if you buy something today, are y'all seeing the analogy to internet marketing? Do you see this is what happens online, and it's no different than what happens offline? Okay? And then we're monitoring our numbers, because if you own a retail establishment, Mike, have you ever set up, or any of you guys, Joe, have you guys ever owned or set up a store in a strip mall or anything? Any of you guys?
No, I haven't been in a strip mall, but I used to have I started off with a lemonade stand on my corner.
Lemonade stand, there you go. And so, okay. Well, I mean, but you were probably younger age. You probably didn't do traffic studies and study how many cars went by each corner or any of that?
No.
Your parents didn't teach you that? That's terrible. Yeah, no, they didn't have you put those rubber things across the road, the little traffic counters? You didn't have that? You didn't have that feature? Okay. So, and by the way, that's what analytics do. I mean, analytics tell us what all that traffic is. That's why we have analytics, and that's why, and we even know where the traffic comes from. We know what keywords it comes from. Like on our big site on Escape Artist, we know what keywords drive traffic, but we also know which keywords drive the best quality traffic. I've got one keyword on my site that drives tons of traffic, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 200,000 visitors a month. But you know what the keyword is? Maps. And you know what maps makes me money-wise? Big goose egg. So who cares if I got 200,000 unique visitors a month coming in off of a keyword? The quality of the keyword stinks. Okay? It's a great, we get lots of traffic from it, and hopefully they go look at other stuff, and that's the value of having that traffic, but it's not a high converting keyword. Okay? So let's see. Joe or Michael, any questions off of what you've seen here so far? Or Horace, why don't you guys turn on your mics? Anything that not making sense, anything I need to explain a little bit more?
I get it. I'm following right along.
Okay. Now, how does this relate to your business, Joe? I mean, based on what I've seen, I've done. Have you made any of these mistakes in any businesses that you've done in the past? Would this have helped you more?
It's a tremendous help. I mean, just the simple 4 steps of what you're laying out, of how to condense that and how to hit the pain and get in and out real quick. Short and sweet. My issue is I've been saying way too much. I need to shorten it up and get right to the point, and the tracking, the split testing. I mean, I've been around. I've seen things like Ryan Dice and all that, but you know, I'm a small operation. I need to get outsourcing and get all these things set up. So I'm following right along with you.
By the way, Ryan Dice, the guy you just said, he's a master, and he's who I follow, and that's where I learned all this stuff. Ryan Dice, the digitalmarketinglab.com. You opt into Ryan Dice's stuff. Go to digitalmarketinglab.com, and you get as much free information from Ryan Dice that you can, and you will become a great internet marketer. Horace, I saw you had your microphone on. You got any comments?
No, I'm good, Tom. I'm just trying to soak it all in.
Right. I just want to make sure you're not in the dark or anything. I want to make sure you're not there or anything.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm real new at this, so it's like drinking from a fire hose, you know. So, but I'm trying to hang in there.
Well, tell me what's been your tradition? Turn your speakers down a little bit. Turn your volume down a little bit.
How's that?
Yeah, that's better. I'm not echoing as bad. I got a booming voice.
Yeah.
So, tell me about. Have you been self-employed? Have you been in your own home-based business before? Have you been taught this stuff before?
No.
Okay.
This is all new to me.
But you understand the idea of finding traffic that's relevant to you. Do you know what I mean when I say that?
Mm-hmm.
So, what's your background?
Well, I'm
What's your demographic? What is something that you really associate with?
probably with the military around this area because I just got out of the Navy. So where I'm at, there's a lot of military around here.
All right. So my advice to you is you don't market to anybody but retired and soon to be retired people in the Navy. You don't write any articles unless it's about your life after the Navy. You don't do any classified ads outside of any magazines that don't have anything to do with the Navy. You don't hand out any flyers that has anything to do. If you want to get the highest quality lead for you, you have, and you know why? Because when you start talking to them, there's instant rapport, there's instant commonality, and it's like you marketing to single moms versus retired Navy personnel. Which one do you think you're going to have a better conversation with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So that would be my advice to you, and what are some of the pains in the Navy? What are some of the pains while you're in the Navy, and what are some of the pains when you're out of the Navy? Identify 3 of those things in each of those scenarios, and then write titles about them. So give me a pain while you're in the Navy. What's a pain when you're in the Navy?
Being away from home, that's one.
Okay.
That's the big one. But
so the words homesick, out at sea, and homesick ring a bell?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, underwater and underwater and away from home.
Submarine.
Yeah. So when you think about that, you got to come up with titles that hit the pain. Is the food necessarily good on the ship? Probably. Sometimes it is.
Some days are better than others.
Yeah, depending on if it's the end of the voyage or the beginning.
Yeah. Depending on how close you are to getting run out of food.
Yeah. But make sure when you write your ad copy, you use Navy vernacular, you use Navy words, stuff that people are associated with, because when they read the ad, they go, "This guy's ex-Navy." I'm gonna call him. I know I'm gonna have a guy. I already trust this guy because he uses my words. Okay. Joe, give me a scenario.
Under what topic? From my history?
Commonality. I see some embroidered on your shirt. Is that a golf shirt? What's that on your shirt right there?
My alumni association, a golf benefit that we did.
Okay, so we got a golfer here.
Well,
first, would you and Bubba might mute your microphone. So, Joe, golfers, are there any local golf things going on in your area? Any place where you can find people that you have stuff in common with?
I'm not the best golfer. That's just an alumni thing, a benefit best ball. But like the alumni association itself, there's people all over the country I want to connect with, and that's part of the other thing, the nonprofit thing that we're doing.
Right.
I want to get involved in that. Just got the book today. My business before this, I do short sales. Work with a lot of different realtors, so I'm marketing out to them too. So
you can write ads that appeal to realtors, like tired of doing short sales taking too long. Is that a good title?
Yeah. Tired of dealing with the banks.
Mine were too, but I found a way to supplement my income. Here's the video how. Okay.
Well, I just added my real estate license like 6 months ago. I've been doing full-time self-employed real estate for 10 years. Started short sales like 6 years ago. But I'm already the go-between. I worked with the realtors and dealt with all the lenders doing the negotiating, so that they already didn't have to talk to the bank.
Right. So, okay. Well, I mean, I get that. What I'm trying to identify is 3 or 4 titles that are relevant to people in the real estate business right now, where they go, yeah, this guy knows the real estate industry. He knows the pain that we have.
Right. Well, a big issue right now are mortgages for end buyers. In that case, are blowing up. It is tough to get a mortgage right now.
So another mortgage loan fell through.
Right.
You know, or mortgage loan went bad, can't pay your bills.
Yep.
You know, lost a commission to the mortgage company. That would be a good.
I haven't used it for marketing, but I just used that with an agent that I've been working with for a few years. Matter of fact, signing her up tomorrow. She's going to be great. Spanish-speaking contacts out of the country.
Sweet.
I'll get with her, and we'll really come up with some stuff.
Bubba, you want to turn your microphone on real quick?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you great. Yeah, I hear you great.
Awesome.
Turn your speakers down just a tad. They're a little too loud. Now, Bubba, did you just catch us? Or you been listening the whole time?
Nah, I was actually on the phone with customer support. Just got my wife's phone up and going, working with everything's working, but her picture texting. So
yeah.
So I was on the phone with them, and then anyway, it kicked me off, and so I just let it stay off while I was talking with them.
I got you. Okay. Well, I'm not going to ask you any questions then, because I want you to see this whole thing. So go ahead and mute your microphone real quick. I'm going to talk to Michael real quick.
All right.
Michael?
Yep.
Give me a relevant market to you.
The National Football League.
Okay, so how would you find advertising sources, or what would be good advertising sources for you to connect with? And what publications would publish articles about you as a ex-NFL star that is now involved in social commerce networking? Because for you, having that kind of a celebrity-style background with the NFL, you're more likely to get published by a publication when you write an article about being an NFL or ex-NFL player that has found a way to participate in social commerce networking. So that's one avenue for you to generate content. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That content will create conversations, and of course those conversations will lead people to call you, and when you have their information, that's a first level conversion, and when they enroll, that's a second level conversion. Okay? Now, what would be other good areas for you to advertise in? Have you even Googled it yet?
I have not.
So, how to advertise to NFL football players?
Okay, let me type that in. How to advertise
to NFL or NFL players.
Players. Okay, and here's what comes up. It says first is celebrity athletes in Southwestern University. MSNBC. NFL players talk politics to MSNBC. Bleacher Report.
So here's another tip. Maybe do NFL media kits. You know, look for media kits about advertising to NFL advertising media kits and see what that pulls up.
NFL media kit, advertising media kits. What you get is, let's see, advertising. Okay, you get, first thing comes up is the corporate Visa. There's a Visa, NFL media kit for Visa, the credit card company. You also see MSNBC again comes up. Media. Here's one, mediapost.com. I don't know, scout.com. Sports, oh, here's one, sportsbusinessdaily.com.
Okay, so maybe go check out their media kit and see how much it costs per impression to advertise on their website. And then we create a NFL landing page or video landing page, you know, where people see you or see your story. It says ex-NFL player, you know, join social commerce networking movement, or, you know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we need to start Googling more information about advertising NFL. I would do maybe National Football League advertising. Try that. National Football League newsletters. Do newsletters maybe.
Let's see. National Football League news letters. Let's see what that comes up. There we go. We got, it says, Bleacher Report, gridirongold.com.
Yeah!
Gridirongold.com.
And guess what a newsletter company has?
They have printers.
No, they have databases.
Ah.
So what I would do is I'd call the newsletter guy, I'd pitch him on social commerce networking. If he doesn't bite, then ask him about advertising. Okay?
Thank you.
So newsletters, folks. Joe, short sale newsletters. I know there's some guys down in Tampa that do a lot of short sales. They do a lot of internet marketing. I see their stuff all the time. Some lawyer and some hotshot kid do it down out of Tampa. But there's all kinds of short sale newsletters that you guys could submit articles to because they're always looking for content, but make sure it's not it needs to be at least an article or an advertorial where there's good value, but there is a selling angle in it. Margarita, how are you? Margarita, can you hear me? Margarita. I can't tell if she's frozen or not. So, anyway, Horace, Navy newsletters, Navy websites. You know, guys, find people with newsletters because they have databases. And guess what a person with a database is always looking to do? They're always looking for ways to make money off that database. Okay? That database is this traffic right here. Let's see if there's anything else I want to cover tonight. You guys got any other questions on this? It all makes sense. Cost, you know, you want high quality traffic. You want to really save money. You want the highest quality traffic you can find. You want to put your, I mean, I know some people do Craigslist. I'm not a fan of Craigslist traffic. Okay? Margarita, can you hear me? I know you can hear me. You wouldn't be. Are you going to talk? You don't have a microphone, do you?
I got it muted.
Oh, you're muted.
I got my mic muted.
I can hear you now. So have you been watching the training the whole time?
Speakers.
Oh, you don't have speakers. Can you hear me? You can hear me. Maybe a huge delay on it for, I don't know. Okay, guys,
Can you hear me now?
Questions, any thoughts? What I want you to do, here's your assignment. Number one, do better Facebook posts, okay? Do better tweets. I want to see better tweets. Oh, I hear the delay now. You guys are like way behind me.
Hey, Tom.
Yes.
Everybody, you're getting specific with everybody. When I suggest everybody seek out groups on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, there's specific groups for NFL. Like NFL, I know Lewis Howes. He's a LinkedIn expert. He was an ex-football player. You should connect with him. There's a million groups, realtor groups, short sale groups, you name it. I know Navy Chris down in Florida too. Everybody has their thing, like Navy, military. This all go great together. You get more targeted free traffic, at least, from the groups.
Yeah, groups are a great source. Yahoo groups. There's a lot of different groups that have opportunity.
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Margarita's she's about 3 minutes behind us.
What's she on a dial-up modem?
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I guess not.
Yeah, she's about 3 minutes behind us. Anyway, Margarita. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up right there. I don't want this to be another 2-hour training because we're already an hour and a half, but I hope that helps you understand a little bit more about marketing your internet business, because if you're going to market a beef store, it's the same way.
I can hear you.
I'm going to mute Margarita.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you too, honey. Margarita, you're about 3 minutes behind us on the dial-up, on the internet connection. Anyway, let's do this, folks. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here if I don't have any other questions. Guys, take this advice. Understand your cost per lead. Start building your leads. And your goal right now, I'll give you all a goal. Generate 100 leads. What we got there? Roll Tide. Is that Roll Tide I see? Alabama. There we go. Anybody else an Alabama fan out there?
Boo.
Oh, no. We're going to cause a fight in the hangout. So I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. I appreciate you being online. We'll be back here tomorrow night with another live presentation. Saturday night, we may take the night off, but remember, you have Google Hangouts that are on the YouTube channel. You can go get them and send them to your friends so they can watch them over the weekends. And just start plugging in. I know Michael Doder did an interview with me today, which was a lot of fun. So if you guys want to do a quick 5-minute interview with me, ping me and just say, hey, I want to do an interview with you so I can send it out to my friends. And I'll communicate something very positive to your friends on your behalf. How about that?
Awesome.
All right, guys.
Thank you, Tom.
Appreciate your time. Thanks for being online tonight.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.